I'm Harriet Chapman, and I'm president of the Junior League of Akron, Ohio. I am excited to see a strategic plan or a strategic roadmap that really is a strategic roadmap. It is not tactical, but it takes into account the fact that 292 leagues of varying sizes and demands have to adapt it to their particular needs, and they can execute the tactics. So I have seen strategic plans before that are very well developed and very poorly developed. This one, to me, was extremely well developed. It reflects accurately our current league challenges, both as individual leagues and as the Association of Junior Leagues. And then it steps beyond reflecting the challenges to figuring out how we can solve them with strategic ideas that, again, we can implement tactically at our own pace and given the buy-in that our leagues are able to adapt to. Regarding the challenges that Akron faces, I indeed did see reflected in some of the demographics and some of the data that Monitor Institute was able to gather and put into simple and easy to understand graphic format, such as declining membership and such as some inflexibility with regard to membership models, and then also the data that they gathered on governance versus management and what was working and what wasn't working. I saw some definite reflections of what Akron is going through as a league. We have a terrific sustainer base. We have a terrific active base. We want to keep those actives longer, and we want to keep younger sustainers more engaged. And I was so excited to see that ideas for flexible membership models and an acknowledgement that that is now needed was reflected in this plan. And again, it gives us the opportunity to discuss that flexible membership model, what it would mean for us, and it gives us time to encourage and solicit and generate buy-in within our own league. So that excited me very much. Also, the governance versus management, there are, I'm sure that all boards at some point have to deal with granular tactical issues. Perhaps we deal with them too much and for too long. So this plan enables us to bifurcate those functions, to concentrate on strategy with one governing body, and then through the management the management group, to concentrate on operations and execution, which I think is a terrific idea. As an association, I think the roadmap, it first is telling us to start a dialogue, which is terrific. That has to happen. So this process is begun as a dialogue here at these conferences, and it encourages us as presidents and presidents-elect to return to our leagues and begin a real dialogue regarding AJLI's developed vision, again, incorporating all of our input for our future. AJLI, to a lot of individual junior league members, is an entity. It's not people with faces. It's not necessarily the helpfulness that we know that can occur. So I am fortunate in my league that we actually have a current board member who is a past president of the Akron League, which is wonderful for us, and she is terrific about sharing communications and ideas. She's also very mindful that our members sometimes aren't interested, sometimes don't care. They're very much more concerned with our local issues and our local concerns and our local mission and what we must execute to get our plans accomplished. So I think what this roadmap does is it brings AJLI closer to the leagues. It will help us to put a context to why we may want to consider some of these changes, and it gives us an opportunity to sort of evangelize a bit about AJLI and about what they're able to do for us, about how we're able to be better connected to great ideas and better practices from other leagues. I think it'll improve that connectedness. So I think this roadmap accomplishes a lot with regard to connecting AJLI and leagues, and then leagues to each other. I haven't really thought much about what the recommendations tell us to stop doing, but I would say that one thing they tell us to stop doing is to think in an insular way. So that's implicit, not explicit. But I think this roadmap is telling us and encouraging us to think outside a box that we perhaps as leagues have been in for so long. We have a lot of tradition. We have a traditional structure. We have a lot of management structures and membership requirements that have been inherited over the years. My mother was a longtime member of the Junior League, so I saw the benefit that the league was to her, and I had great respect for it coming in because of her experience. She, though, recognized, as so many sustainers do, as most sustainers do, the league isn't going to function well if it uses older models and doesn't adapt to changing models of how we live our lives and in what other activities women are engaged. So I think this roadmap tells us to stop thinking that the way we've always done things is the way we must do things, and it encourages us on the proactive sense, it encourages us to think outside the box about how we can accomplish our goals using new models and feeling safe to do so. So I think the acknowledgement that there are going to be members with different needs for volunteering and for engagement in their community, entering the league at different times in their lives, the acknowledgement that it's okay to accept members and to embrace the skills that they bring, work on the skills that they lack, and perhaps acknowledge that leaders can become leaders faster, and that in some cases we just need to do a little bit more training on league-specific governance issues, but as far as leading people, they may be already advanced. Those are all wonderful, wonderful things. And so the aha moment for me was recognizing just on paper and seeing very clearly articulated the current membership model and what could be.
Great, great. Harriet, I have one last question for you. How are you going to relate what's happening at the Akron, at the Junior League of Akron, with some of your fellow community leaders in terms of new developments going on at the Junior League of Akron?
That's a great question, Debbie. I think how the Junior League of Akron will engage the community with regard to the potential change that we will undergo. And as yet, of course, we haven't determined what that change will be. We haven't even gotten the full buy-in of our league. So that's all going to be a process. I think educating our community leaders will be a process. The first thing, I think, is we are going to bring this up and share, with permission, the strategic plan or whatever deck we're allowed to share. I think we will share information on the strategic roadmap with our Community Advisory Board, which is a terrific, varied group of people who are deeply engaged in the greater Akron and Summit County, Ohio community, and also who care about our league and our success in helping those in need. So I believe we will first engage our Community Advisory Board and get their advice as to how to engage others. The second group that's vitally important, in addition to our actives, of course, which is core, who are core, is our sustainer group. And I believe there are myriad ways we can engage our sustainers through normal communications that we have with them through the year, through our newsletter, through our social and civic and volunteer events, but then through other ways that we will have to draft and come up with. I think we will engage sustainers probably in smaller groups and then in larger groups to let them know that, yes, indeed, the AJLI gets it. They have come up with a roadmap that is well developed, reflects where leagues are today, acknowledges leagues are at different stages and have different demands, different successes, different opportunities for change, and then also to explain to sustainers that this roadmap will allow us to customize what we need as our actives and sustainers see in Akron and take those needs and resolve them, if you will, through planning going forward. So I think Community Advisory Board, we will engage the Community Advisory Board, we will engage our sustainers, and because our sustainers are so deeply involved themselves in the community, we will find ways and get advice from them on how to reach out to the wider community. So I think it's so well developed. I think while we may get pushback, because there always will be pushback, I believe the potential for generating new enthusiasm for the league, perhaps greater re-engagement by sustainers, even greater re-engagement or greater engagement by our Community Advisory Board, which is already terrific. I think those are just, upwardly mobile curves.
Wow. Oh, terrific.